Pete Williams, you've got some new information. What do you got?
Well, we had earlier heard that there were suspicious packages found before the people stormed the building. That was the sort of focus of concern. Now we're told that at least one improvised explosive device has been found on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. I don't know where. I don't know what the nature of the device is. Obviously, it's in the hands of law enforcement, so it's not a hazard at this point. They're looking at whether there was a second device found as well. We don't know where. I know that earlier the report of a suspicious package one was at the Library of Congress, which of course is right across the street, right across the street from the Capitol building, and the other was near a House office building. So this is not inside the U.S. Capitol, or we believe inside a building, but outside a building. Don't know if it was in a backpack or where. So that's what police are looking into right now. Obviously, more law enforcement responding. And Chuck, you know, talking to some Secret Service people a moment ago, they're obviously looking at all of this and rethinking very seriously what the security precautions are going to have to be for the inaugural. Now, it's clearly been way scaled back because of the pandemic concerns. There'll be no parade, but there'll still be a ceremony on the side of the Capitol that I think you're, well, one of the sides of the Capitol that you're looking at. And Chuck, I'm going to go and send it back to you and take a call.
Well, fair enough. I would rather you go get us more information. And speaking of more information, let me go to Garrett Haake, who's, of course, on Capitol
Hill. Chuck, we're watching, the same video feed of you are here outside the Capitol. I was just out on the balcony watching, and what I'm seeing is starting to look familiar at large-scale protests that I've covered in the past, as we're getting this sort of massive law enforcement footprint that Tom Winter was talking about. We know Virginia is now sending in some of their National Guard and state troopers. The governor of Maryland just tweeted a few minutes ago that he's sending in some Maryland state troopers. And you can see, the full force of the D.C. Metropolitan Police, of which every officer, I was told this morning, has been called up for duty today, are arriving here. And you're just starting to get a little bit of a sense here that this has been somewhat controlled, at least on the outside here. More and more of these rioters seem to be leaving the Capitol property. From where I can stand on the Russell balcony, I'm seeing groups of them, in the 5s and 10s, starting to frankly apparently lose interest and leave here. But there's still that core group standing on top of the stairs. I'm in contact with some lawmakers. They're essentially all still locked down, not revealing their locations. And everyone here is just kind of waiting this out at this point as this additional law enforcement presence continues to gather. The city of D.C., by the way, is going to treat some of this tonight much like they did during some of the protests that turned occasionally violent over the course of the summer. That citywide curfew going into effect at 6 o'clock. And then the public transportation system here in D.C. will shut down at 8, sort of a you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here way of handling this here, to just try to freeze everything in place and clear the streets out tonight as it gets dark. Sunset about 5 o'clock here tonight. And again, from the experience of covering so many of these protests over the course of the summer, that tends to be when things get a little bit more dangerous. It's hard to say compared to this, but more dangerous even once the sun goes down.
Hey, Chuck Garrett, we saw a moment ago a protester on some scaffolding outside of the Capitol. We can hopefully show that video or the image again. Here it is. And I was wondering what exactly was going on there. Apparently, this is a rioter trying to take down the American flag from the Capitol and replace it with a Trump flag. Garrett, another question to you. Given that at least one explosive device has been found on Capitol Hill grounds, reasonably speaking, when can this process start up again?
That's a great question, and I think it'll be determined in large part by the Secret Service. The Capitol Police.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.